Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Standard Super League. My name is Brad Nelson, and this is the one, the only Jess Estefan. How's it going, Jess?
I'm good, Brad. I'm a little tired after our match. I'm not used to
It,
thinking that much.
I know it was exhausting. I haven't played those cards in a while. I think this is about the time that I need to let you know that I did keep a one-lander game too.
I know you did because I wanted to like ancient grudge your mind stone, but then I had to like focus on everything else, and it was just like if
Yeah,
I'm wrong about this, I just get super punished. So I just like I couldn't gamble it with my hand.
yeah. No, I mean, so I played Eldrazi Tron at a Pro Tour 2 years ago, and it didn't go that great. I went 5-5, but I really liked that deck, and I thought it was just dead. And then all of a sudden, when we were like preparing for this tournament, I saw that like Eldrazi Tron is coming back because of Karn the Great Creator, and I got
Okay.
super excited to play with it. Um, but yeah, Ancient Grudge is pretty good against it. I did find that out
Yeah,
because I
when you
was just
went
like trying to play towards that.
yeah. You
Yeah,
went like
but
blast zone into like a Tron land, and I was just like, this was a one lander, wasn't it?
yeah. Yeah, that is actually very true. No, I mean Dredge seems like it's this deck that I mean I will be honest that I have some cleaning up to do because I was taking a sip of my coffee when I hit quad crippling chill and I just spit it all over the place. Like it was just so funny. Um, but I don't know where Dredge lands in this format. Now, have you played that deck a lot? I will be honest and say that I've never played a single game with Dredge.
I picked up the deck last week because I knew it was incredibly powerful going into both Team Modern Super League and into Barcelona next month. It picks up a few new toys with Modern Horizons as well, so I just wanted to learn it. It's um it's got some easy games, when the deck just has its engine and it's a very straightforward game as long as you understand Modern on the deck. And then the games where your opponent is like turn one Grafdigger's Cage. I'll Khan. I'll like go get a
Yeah,
tournament script. Like they're a little rougher. So
yeah. No,
um,
I saw a lot of my teammates playing the deck on my Team Series team, and I wasn't really interested in playing it because I was very scared of actually like being able to pilot it well because like a lot of the little decisions are difficult to see where they're going to play out and they're very important like knowing what to dredge, when to play those sequences. It was beyond me. I saw Reed Duke playing Jund and I'm like, all right, I'm jumping on board with that. Like Logan, what's the list? I'll play that. And that's kind of my life. So who knows what's going to happen going into Barcelona? I did make the craziest promise. Now, for anyone at home who knows, the Bros Who Bash do have a special guest friend, and that's Brian Brunduin, who is very good at Modern. That's why we brought him along for the Super League. He's just our secret weapon. And I promise that I'm going to play his 75 in Barcelona. I'm going to go wherever he's going. And I hope it's not here because the next matchup we are showing is one of the most wild we'll see on any Super League that's ever been made. Brian is playing Lantern Control with Karn the Great Creator against Fevered Visions. Is that what the card is called? I'm going dark. I should look at deck lists, since I'm doing commentary, but I kind of just want to get surprised like everyone else. But is it Fevered Visions, which is hilarious to me because all Brian's trying to do is stop both players from drawing cards, and all this deck is draw cards.
I'm so excited to see this.
Yeah, I
Like
have no idea how this is going to play out, but since you're our modern expert for commentary, I'm going to do play-by-play. I'll let you do color. I'll be throwing all the difficult questions to you. You've got it, right?
absolutely.
You know how this plays out.
So
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at the deck list in front of me, and I'm reading some cards. I'm reading Engulf the Shore because it's been a while since I've seen that card in play.
I have seen that in some very terrible builds of brews that Martin Mueller was trying to play with. I remember the testing days where I had to play
Okay.
against that. I do remember Eye of Nowhere and Boomerang, and for anyone that is in the chat that knows those, so that's my old school. Now I know Randy Bueller is into like true old school Magic with a bunch of cards I've never played, but when I started playing Magic, we used to just go Eye of Nowhere, Stone Raid, Magnivore, Tidings, Wildfire. And that to me, that is the oldest school that I know, which
You
is
sound
just
like a lot
bounce
of
and
fun.
LD. Yeah. That's a blast. I didn't even know that Eye of Nowhere and Boomerang were even legal in this set. The
This
The curious thing for me is why there's no Narsets along with these Days Undoings.
I absolutely agree because I saw Days Undoing and I was looking for the Narset because that's a very one-sided combination. Like you discard your hand, I'll wheel, and I'm not seeing any Narset, but I guess it doesn't really matter since BBD usually doesn't have any cards in hand anyway.
Yeah. All right, so our players are in fact ready. This is going to be a long match. Sit back and relax as we watch Brian try to control the top of the library. And we're back for round 4 of the Modern Super League. We've got Brian Brown doing on Lantern Control against April King on Fevered Visions. You know, a very common modern matchup. We've seen it week after week at the top tables of every single tournament that's out there. And I believe that you are an expert in how this matchup plays out, Jessica. So could you break this down for us?
Yeah, Brad and I were talking and we're like, we're going to take the top 5 decks from MTG Goldfish and our teams are going to play those. And when I went to MTG Goldfish, it told me that Blue-Red Fevered Visions was 20% of the metagame. So
it is very impressive.
It's crushing the Moto leagues.
Yeah, please. And, get your Demystifies ready right now. Get the foil versions. They're coming back.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know how this game is gonna try to play out, is Brian Bardoon is playing Lantern Control, and what that is, it's an older deck. It hasn't been played for over a year now, but it is trying to use cards like Lantern of Insight and Codex Shredder to control the top of the opponent's library and just use that as the win condition. Now that's going to be difficult against a deck that is a lot of instant speed interaction and cantrips like the Remand in Hand, the Fevered Visions, Wipeaways, Boomerangs, Eye of Nowheres. It's going to be difficult for Brian to take a full grasp control on this game. And so what we might see is games just spiral out of control for April, or Brian finally finds a way to contain all of April's action by just forcing her to continuously draw land after land after land and putting anything good into the graveyard during upkeep.
So I firstly, I have a lot of respect for April's choice in basics. Whiteboarded basics are great. But Brian being on the play in this game has definitely already shaped it.
Oh, yeah, this is a very, very play draw dependent matchup.
I wish I could have told you that 5 minutes ago, but looking at this from being an experienced player with at least one of these decks, it doesn't look like April's in great shape. That being said, I have not much idea about what's going to happen, and I'm looking forward to watching her climb out of this cliff and just demolish BBD.
So one of the ways to attack Lantern that's already gotten some of its claws in by having some forms of manipulation, this is exactly what Brian wants is multiple Codex Shredders to just control as much of the library as possible. But what is good against this is stockpiling cantrips, just ops and remands. That's why, oddly enough, Tireless Tracker is just one of the most impressive cards in against Lantern Control, because you can just stockpile a bunch of clues and lands and eventually try to find that Abrupt Decay or the Ancient Grudge, whatever you have as interaction. Now, we're going to be going to sideboarding eventually, and after sideboard, it does not seem that April came prepared with the artifact destruction.
So we've got a Bifrost here, and we've got a couple of Spell Pierces and some counter fluxes. I'm not actually sure if the counter fluxes are just going to be too slow, but I like the Spell Pierces and the Bifrost for sure.
Oh yeah, and Jace is honestly a very good card in the matchup. If that ever sticks, Brian definitely has to deal with it immediately, but that's going to be difficult because Brian's interaction is making sure things don't hit the board, and then potentially using cards like Pithing Needle, where all of these, like, April can bounce that and cantrip every single turn. So this is the exciting world of Modern. We go straight into you putting me at 8 on turn 2 of the game into into whatever this is.
I milled the first 3 Creeping Chills. I'm like, this is positive, and I hit the 4th, and I was just like, I don't know if this is good or bad. Like, I needed these later.
Oh, I mean, I say eventually. Like, it just doesn't matter when, just whenever, as long as you don't draw them, right? Like, when you see that, it's like, well, that means the hand is probably very good. But all right, so
that's a lot of lands for April.
Yeah, wipe away on Lantern to try to get some control over this game, just to stop Brian from doing anything with the top of the library. Just the information, right? Brian needs the information to know when to mill.
Yeah,
but no capitalization from resolving anything important.
Yeah. April's going to be able to remand this Lantern of Insight, and while it's just going to be able to get replayed, it's going to cycle before the board can start being controlled again by the Lantern Shredder combo. And this is what I say, it's not much, but it's something.
Yes, this is a big draw step. That is a very good card in the matchup.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is a Blast Zone on 2, though.
Yes,
so it may take some time before we see it happen. That's a Jace. I don't think that Jace is long for the top of the library, but it's Jace.
With multiple ways to interact with it, whether it's surgical or a Codex Shredder. So this is interesting.
Yeah. She has a fetch land. Against double Codex Shredder, it's not great, but stockpiling fetch lands, again, gives you control, a little bit more control over the top of your library.
That is exactly true. So Brian is waiting for upkeep to activate this. Shuffle is interesting. I guess this is kind of a free shuffle. I don't know if I would do it now. Is this return to understand all creatures? It's just creatures. Okay.
It's just creatures. Yeah.
Ooh, a second search. So that's probably not worth taking unless Brian I wasn't paying enough attention. Did Brian know that the verse was there? I think he might have, just the way he's played this.
So I don't know that he knows about the first search for Ascanta because she drew it off remand.
But with a wipe away to end a turn, I'm fairly certain. I should have Twitch chat up, by the way, just in case. We might miss something very important here.
I'm very interested in chat lethal.
Yeah.
So this is true.
So one thing that can happen is if April ends up playing one of these searches, then the Blast Zone plus Surgical takes all of them. So we're going to see that not be the case. Ooh, Karn the Great Creator. Now, this is an actual win condition for Lantern that kind of locks it up. Whereas I think of Karn the Great Creator in Brian's deck, much like Tamio in Nexus. You remember when you couldn't really concede to a Nexus deck last season?
Yeah, you just had to say that win con.
Yeah, but now being able to lattice an opponent, Microsynth Lattice, that just locks it up.
So for those who don't have deck lists in front of them, the artifacts that are available to this Karn are Mycosynth Lattice, Witchbane Orb, Crucible of Worlds, Pithing Needle, Damping Sphere, Graph Digger's Cage, Tormod's Crypt, there's a Welding Jar, and then the rest are just legitimate sideboard slots.
Whoa.
Oh no!
You say that, but I boarded in a lot of random widows with so many dead cards against you. Like that Spellskite was a legitimate sideboard card for me against you.
I saw them continuously talk about Spellskite. I was just like, what's Spellskite?
All right, so we got Karn on top and April without much.
So we've also had Search for Ascanta Surgical at this point, and it's not looking great. There's Snapcaster, there's a Blast Zone in play ready to check that. There's multiple Codex Shredders with a Lantern of Insight. So while Brian hasn't achieved
Brian's not reading Blast Zone because he thought it cost 3 or 2 to activate.
Oh, I see. Well, you can't have it all. You can't. Either you have the cards or you can read them. So.
All right, so now Karn can come down. The biggest issue is without the 6th land, we can't try to do like a lattice shenanigans.
Yeah.
Also, the lattice isn't going to work out that long if that Snapcaster stays in play.
That's correct. But yeah, this blast zone, it really does. So if we land lattice and then just kill the Snapcaster later.
Well, all right, April's packing
right,
it up.
Game 2.
That I approve of early concessions. I'm not justifying. I don't think they're correct to do, but I approve of them because I also share in the early concessions.
At my final turn taking 5 minutes longer than the rest of them.
All right, so we have what do you think's happening with? And then Golf comes out probably.
Yes.
Blood Moon can sometimes do something. Dispel might interact with like Assassin's Trophy, but that seems pretty weak.
Yeah. I'm not loving the options here. As I mentioned earlier, I think we're bringing in like Spell Pierce and Biforce. I could see bringing in the Fork Bolt if enough is coming out, but
we can't go that deep. We'll bring in the 3-mana counter spell, take out the burn, but we can't Forked Bolt the Lantern control deck. That's just going too far now.
He was on an effective 3 that game, so we were close. So
that is true. We do see Brian bringing in his favorite card, Unmoored Ego. I don't know what that's going to name, but probably Jace. Who really knows? I don't know. Like
we do.
Oh,
well, April's supposed to play this game, so.
Yes. And as we said, and we've seen in many top 8 situations, this is a play draw dependent matchup. Yeah. And look at those hands. I bet if we just mixed them together, we would get 2 reasonable hands of like fun modern Magic.
There's there's a Days Undoing affinity deck here somewhere. April sees a no land 6 and goes to 5. I'm not gonna lie, this isn't the worst 5 in the world. Those Snapcasters aren't flashing anything back, but they will beat at least 2 points of life off someone.
Yeah, I mean this is the Ambush Viper, try to like Spell Pierce, maybe get something to play, maybe Snapcaster Pierce the next thing, and try to get on the aggressive. It might have a tough time with Brian's current hand. Well, this is nice, especially since Brian is going to have faith in this Nihil Spellbomb living to keep the Glimmer Void alive against the Boomerang strategy.
Yeah, it's Boomerang and Remand, so.
Okay, so 2 artifacts. This is.
I'm
hoping. I love watching Glimmer Voids die. I love it. I'm just hoping that gets an Eye of Nowhere or a Boomerang, and we see Brian go for it.
I have a very one-sided
land. Oh, no. Land.
No.
Why not?
Because I don't want him to win.
No. I'm rooting for April right now. If April draws a land, she can bounce the bell and kill the Glimmer Void. No. Now we're in trouble. Like that game was almost won on that turn, and now we're in a lot of trouble.
Is that a Kaya? For someone who proclaims he hates the card, I'm sure it was coming in a lot.
It has been played a lot. Oh, I'm so mad right now that didn't happen.
I wanted to see that Glimmer Void die, but I thought you were calling for BBD to draw a land after the dying.
No,
no.
I think I would lose so much fun in Magic if I was like incapable of rooting against Brian Brown doing. Like not in like when I play against him in finals 2017 Grand Prix, but at big events, of course not.
Game days and such.
Yeah, I wanted him to top 8 this last Mythic Championship, of course, but here I wanted him to suffer. All right, so Snapcaster Mage is just getting the beats, and now we're kind of locked in this weird spot where there's not really a lot for April to do stuck on 2 lands. And
yeah,
There's not a lot also for Brian to do because of the way he designed his deck. So we're kind of just stuck here trying to talk about like paint dry on the wall right now. But we'll do our job, Randy. We'll do our job.
So again, this matchup, it's one we've played a lot.
All right, so milling ourselves now, just random. All right, so let's try to find a game plan that either player can deploy. So Days Undoing is kind of interesting because it just kind of resets the game. That could set up for a very devastating turn, the next turn where Brian sets up a lot, but that might not be enough if there's 7 cards in hand.
I think giving Brian 7 cards when April is going to be ending the turn immediately, it's not ideal.
Well, while it's not ideal, it's the way the deck is designed. And of course you want to go like boomerang, play it.
Yeah.
But what are the other options? Because this is these are the turns where Brian's going to get the claws in, and April needs to get a velocity of cards. And if she's able to go Days Undoing, play a bunch of stuff, Days Undoing, play a bunch of stuff, that kind of stops the lock. Because if it's in her hand, it's harder to interact with than on the top of the library.
That's correct. So once the cards are in hand, I believe the way to interact with them are like Surgical Extraction and Thoughtseizes. I think just having a look at the deck lists again, I think that the game plan here is to get Kaya into play, but not having an answer to the Snapcaster Mage is really unfortunate. We have kept in Blood Moon, and it's going to block us from hitting that 3rd land.
Yeah.
And
yeah, this is tough.
Yeah, it is.
I think we'll see another Snapcaster Mage do a Ambush Viper impersonation here.
It's a plan. Like, it's not ideal, obviously, but it's something, and it's not the worst.
Mm-hmm. And these Assassin's Trophies aren't doing good work in you're now. Sometimes you try to stop your opponent from hitting lands, and sometimes you don't. And this is this weird game that like you're eventually going to have to cast your cards, and that's eventually going to open up their hand. So this is like an actually difficult decision point for Brian. Like, do you put these cards in hand that you'll eventually have to deal with if you can't stop the lands forever? Now, what's going on? Getting a Mox Opal. Okay, so just wanting to generate mana and get colors and prepare for potentially a Blood Moon.
Yeah.
Oh, these are the weird games that like eventually this Blast Zone might kill both of them. That's pretty safe. But now Brian might be able to put like good permanents underneath that. I forgot the name. The
Pyxis of Pandemonium.
Pyxis, yes.
Yeah.
So Brian is taking the route. Yeah. Oh no, April.
Early concessions? What were we saying?
I mean, it's brutal, and
yeah, it's not going to feel good losing like that. But
yeah, you said you were tired. It's getting late in Minnesota. Like we have plenty of Magic still to play.
We have at least one round of Magic still to play. So
we have at least one match of Magic. Now we have gotten through 4 of our decks. Now I believe that means that I know that I've got Corey on Tron, True Tron. And yes, what does that leave the stream team with? Ow, Luna.
I've got to double check, but I believe that leaves me on Blue Red Phoenix.
Ooh, are you going to be able to switch the matchup? I mean, we've already seen that, and it did not go well.
It did not bode well in the Blue Red Phoenix. It did not bode well for Blue Red Phoenix. Having Corey have that like turn where he almost turned the corner when he drew the Abrade for the Wormcoil engine was so great, but obviously that didn't pan out so well. My hope is I get to that Abrade the Wormcoil section and then just turn the corner.
Oh, perfect.
Just win the game from there. So I've got a game plan. Corey should have come with one clearly. But
yeah. Well, I think we're going to be able to go to break to get the players prepared for round 5. But the Bros Who Bash, now Luna's here with the evil cat because we are taking the show. Say hi, Luna. Say hi,
Hi,
Luna.
Luna.
All right, we'll be back in a couple minutes for round 5 of the Modern Super League Bash Bros vs. Stream Team.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hey everyone, I'm Brian Brown Doon. I'm joined here by April King. We just played a really fun match, I would say.
Yeah, it was a little. I was so close on that. It's hard to explain just how close I was to winning that second game because it looked like I didn't have a chance. But on turn 3, I think I had something like 30 live draws off the top of my deck. I had a wipe away in my hand, so a 3-mana bounce spell to wipe away your artifact.
To wipe away my chances of winning,
and kill your Glimmer Void.
Yeah.
Or any land or any of my 2-mana bounce spells, which I had 8 of. So I had a lot of wins there, but that's just Magic sometimes, you know?
Yeah, having outs and not drawing them, I mean, that is kind of the name of the game for Lantern Control. So I always love when my opponent doesn't get there. And in fact, Lantern is designed as such, so...
Yeah, I even used, you couldn't see me, but I was using my one time. My whole life, I've never used my one time, and I used it there for a card I have 30 of in the deck, and I didn't get there.
You should probably get a refund on that, right? If you use your one time and you're 50% to hit or better, they should come with some sort of rebate on that.
I agree. In fact, I feel like I should get maybe 1.5 times back.
Yeah, I think so. I think you should get you can get a one time, and then you also get a 3/4 time, where it's it's not the card you wanted to draw, but it's still prolongs the game. Yeah.
It's a fine card. Whatever.
All
yeah,
right.
I think that was a pretty tough matchup for me. So it's hard to show that in there because people only get to see one match. But the deck has something like a 90% win rate versus blue-white control and Tron. And it's terrible against decks that have lots of 1-ups. So Lantern, Elves, Humans is tough too, even with 4-6 sweepers. Like that's a pretty tough matchup. But
Yeah,
decks that try to cast spells that cost more than 2 mana, they lose almost every time.
Yeah, it seems like all the 1 mana cards I have make it really hard for your boomerangs to do devastating work. And it's unfortunate because your deck seemed really cool, and Lantern is there to make sure your opponent doesn't get to do their cool thing. So kind of an unfortunate pairing that you didn't get to play against like Tron or something and like send them back to nowhere or whatever it is, to nowhere.
Yeah, so usually how that deck works is that like you boomerang, so you just like boomerang lands for like 2 or 3 turns in a row, and then you're up like 4 lands to 1 land, and you cast Days Undoing, drawing a couple more boomerangs, and you just at that point you Jace or whatever, and you have like 7 lands in play, and they have 0, and it usually does pretty well from there.
That does seem like a good spot to be, but I'm no expert, so maybe
it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those decks that has just like super lopsided matchups. There are very few like 50-50 matchups for that deck. It either just like destroys people or it just gets run over.
Sounds like a good microcosm for just Modern as a whole, honestly. Just a lot of lopsided matchups. There's some good ones too, but that was certainly a very lopsided one. I felt pretty favored with like Pithing Needles and Surgicals and stuff like that, but I would have been interested to see if like a game had gone really long and some cool things got to happen too. But.
Yeah, hopefully we can pull out 3 more wins and I can bring it back. Well, I guess I get to bring it back another time at least anyways, hopefully. But yeah, it's a very, very fun deck. I noticed a lot of people going back and looking through the chat logs, a lot of people were asking me about Narset. And I have tried with Narset because it is very good with Days Undoing, right? You just reload your hand and they get nothing. And it's possible that is the right way to build the deck. I've just have had, like 300 matches with that deck on my stream, and none with Narset. And the Narset thing is tricky because now I need to find kind of another win condition, because that deck's normal win condition is like Snapcaster Beatdown, or Jace killing people with Jace, or most commonly killing people with Fevered Visions, right? Like they're just stuck on 1 land for turn after turn, and you just keep hitting them for 2 when you're drawing extra boomerangs. And that doesn't work very well with Narset. Like you want them to be drawing cards when they have no lands, and Narset keeps them from drawing those extra cards.
That's a good point. Yeah, Narset actually stops Fevered Visions really from being effective. Kind of an interesting non-bow, I guess.
Yeah, so it's possible that there is another build with Narset that maybe just runs like some Howling Mines and Narset. That might be really good.
You need to tap your Howling Mine on their turn so they don't get the extra card. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. So this next matchup, I actually think. So I believe this is the exact same matchup as the first one, or the second round. But just in reverse.
Yeah, you're an expert on this matchup. This is you were able to you beat Corey earlier in the complete reverse of this matchup, where you were playing Tron against Phoenix, and now Jess is playing Phoenix against Corey on Tron.
Yeah, I would say I'm probably one of the world's foremost experts on this matchup, having played 1 match of it. And I really did. I was telling Corey that when I went into this night, I actually thought that the deck was not favored against Phoenix, because you can just mow down Karns. Like you just bring a bunch of stuff back and you mow down a Karn, or it has a decent clock once it gets started. And it has like a little combo engine with the Pyromancer's Ascension, but I don't know if the games were close, but I don't know if I ever felt like I was not in control of both of those games. Like I felt like once I got Tron, I was winning that matchup, no matter what Corey did.
It did seem to be the case as well. Like I guess I'm just the Tron versus Phoenix commentary expert, because I've done commentary in 2 matches. They're both this Tron versus Phoenix, and I kind of felt the same way with like you've been mulled to 5 that first game, but once you got Tron, I didn't see a way out for Corey, and even Karn. Like even if they mow down your Karn and you get like Trinisphere was like devastating that first game, Bridge, things like that. It seems like Phoenix lacks that much tools to deal with some of the things that Karn can get. I guess when you have access to like, 10 cards that you put in your sideboard, you kind of have a lot of options.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, it's in Modern, it would be interesting to see what would happen if we had cards like Burning Wish and Cunning Wish. Burning Wish I guess we don't have on-screen card showing, I don't think. So like Burning Wish lets you go to your sideboard and get a sorcery, and Cunning Wish lets you go and get an instant. And then it's like, what is the green one? It's like
Living Wish, I think.
Living Wish. Yeah, that's
you
the
get
one.
a creature or a land, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and none of those are legal in Modern. But I suspect, like, having played with Karn, which legit costs 4 mana, I almost think that they might be too good at like decks that just get to have access to massive main deck sideboards. It just might just be too good. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's certainly possible that it is. Like, it's kind of weird seeing Karn be so great in Modern, because I played so much best of one Magic on Arena, and Mastermind's Acquisition's like one of the best cards there, because you get access to a sideboard in a format that doesn't have a sideboard. But it's not really that great of a card in traditional play. But Karn just seems to break that mold where getting access to your sideboard in game one is actually just still good enough when it's attached to a planeswalker that has other abilities too.
Yep, and I'm still having like watched a bunch of these matches, I'm still like not 100% sure that Karn is the problem, and like maybe it's the Tron lands that are the problem that allow you to fetch up Karn and then cast a spell with it right away.
Yeah,
I mean, they're definitely both problems. Like they're both they're all problematic cards, but what is the greater offender there? I'm not quite sure yet, but I definitely think there is something kind of wrong. It feels wrong.
I think Tron lands, I don't know if problem is the right word, but they're definitely maybe a little too good for Modern, but it seems like they're kind of part of a format to stay. And I don't know, a Karn might finally be the card that pushes Tron over the top and makes it too good, and they'll finally act like one of the Tron lands. But who knows? Like I haven't really had a chance to see Tron with Karn in action, but when I saw you play against Corey, I was like, yeah, this is just disgusting. Like, you could just do whatever you want.
Yeah, and like if I were taking a deck to a modern tournament right now, I would absolutely be sleeving up Karn, because it really makes you feel like you don't have bad matchups anymore. Like, Dredge is a bad matchup. Oh well, you got 4 cages. I mean, Storm, probably a bad matchup. Oh, you got 4 Trinispheres main deck. I mean,
Yep.
aggro decks. Oh well, I guess you've got 4 bridges. I mean, like, it's just having access to all of these incredible lock pieces. It just makes it feel like, you just have fewer lopsided matchups. And that's so huge.
I mean, even just having 4 Stony Silences in your main deck too, like that's nothing to really
I'm sorry. I must have took a right when I should have taken a left. Sorry.
Yeah. Do you need directions?
Yeah. How do I get upstairs?
First, you get out of the outhouse that I'm in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's step 1.
Perfect.
And then that's all I know.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing commentary for the Team Modern Super League. I'm part of the team Brothers Who Bash.
Oh, wow. Are you our special guest?
I am, yeah.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone.
Hi. How's it going? Who's that guy, anyways?
I don't even know. He lives here. I don't know who he is or what he does.
You just like let random people like live in your house? It seems real loose.
Yeah, it's a little bit loose, but I like to help the unfortunate out. So in this case, whoever that guy is,
the random bums you find on the street.
That's right. That is right. Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We're still working through getting things set up for the next round. So might be a little bit, so we can just keep chatting about how absurd Karn is.
Is this where I'm supposed to talk trash about us being up 3-1 right now? Is this like an opportunity for me to like practice some of my trash talk?
I mean, I don't know how effective it would be. I mean, everybody knows that you just got lucky that last match.
That's true.
So
that is true.
The whole world saw it. Like they saw me use my one time. They saw that I had like 30 live draws out of 50 cards, and I didn't get there. I mean, the world knew that the one time failed me. So
Is better lucky than good a viable source of trash talking? Like, is that a good trash talk phrase? Like,
I think so.
Okay.
But I don't know if you can use it. I mean, it feels like one of those things that LSV might have locked up at this point.
oh, okay, fair enough, fair enough. I wouldn't want to steal somebody else's catchphrase. So, it'd be the worst thing.
All right, but yeah, I agree that these toolbox cards. And you were talking about Mastermind's acquisition, and I remember
Yeah.
I haven't seen it a whole lot in the current standard format after War of the Spark, but I remember I was playing like Jeskai Control, and which was a weird deck, but it had Expansion Explosion, and I was playing in a best of one, and I was like, okay, well, after losing to Mastermind's acquisition enough times, I'm like, I have to build a sideboard for my best of one deck that doesn't have Mastermind's acquisition. And it won me so many games where I just copied their Mastermind's acquisition and fetched up some uncounterable monstrosity, and they just lost the game instantly.
Yep, that is that's. I would say that this was Magic as Garfield intended. You could say, like.
At least along those lines. I know that. Did you see the Richard Garfield article that came out? It was, I think, yesterday or something.
I did. That was really excellent. You want to explain it?
Yeah, there was. I knew that like Richard Garfield must be at least a decent guy because he made my favorite game of all time. But when I read this article, it absolutely confirmed how great of a guy, just a titan of a man that he is. So he was talking about the good old days of Magic back in 1993, probably before anybody but me on the stream was born. And
well, unfortunately, I was born before then too. But continue.
So close. Well, maybe you were in diapers, but anyways, so he was talking about back then there were not limits on deck construction. So you could have decks that had more than 4 of any card. And he realized at the time, because he's a I don't know if he's a mathematician, but he definitely has like a math background. And he realized that there was like a really, really good deck in the format. And that was a Scheherazade deck. I always want to say Scheherazade deck. And for those who don't know, this is a card that has been banned in everywhere. I think it's actually banned in every format ever.
I think it is, yeah.
I actually think it is. And it says that it costs, I think, 2 colorless and 2 white, and it says, play another game of Magic. Take your deck, take what you have left, and just play another game of Magic on the side. And whoever loses that game comes back, and they're at half their life total, rounded up. So they lose half their life rounded up. And he realized that, well, if you had a deck that was bigger than your opponent's deck, like if you had, say, 75 cards in your deck, and maybe, say, a third of them were Scheherazades and the remainder of them were like Mox Pearls and Plains, then you would have like a turn 1 Scheherazade, or turn 1 or turn 2 Scheherazade. So you go into your subgame, and you'd still have a bigger library than your opponents because you're started bigger. So you just do that again. You go into another subgame, and then you go into another subgame, another subgame, another subgame. And then like eventually they have no cards left in their decks. So they deck out, and you like go up a subgame. But they're down half the life. So then you go back down into a subgame and come back up. And so it takes thousands of matches to ever finish your very first game.
So you have to go through all these different chains of subgames of your opponent repeatedly milling out from having a smaller deck. And when you finally get all the way back to the original game, they're at 10 life.
10 life.
And then you do it
you
again.
You do it all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds a lot like Lantern to me. Doesn't seem that much different now that I think about it.
I like this deck. All right, it sounds like we're ready to go. So we're gonna jump We're gonna jump into the match of Tron versus Lantern, Corey versus Jess.
All right, good luck, Jess. Corey.
All right, so looks like we have some technical difficulties, and we are not going to have access to Corey's hand. So it's kind of like a little bit of a gamble here because Corey could just have any disgusting Tron thing going on, and we're going to be just as surprised as everyone else when he deploys it.
I mean, he has 7 cards in his hand, so I'm going to assume he kept like a hand with a forest and just a bunch of cantrips.
Okay.
Maybe like 3 cards. That's what I'm hoping, so that Jess can just mow him right over.
That looks like a lot like suspiciously like an Urza's power plant, ruining your plans.
Oh, that's a Tron land. Wow, that's way better than a forest.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It looks like Jess has a pretty decent hand though, like an early thing in the ice and can flip it maybe pretty fast. 2 of them actually. So
yeah, I don't know how good, like, thing in the ice seems pretty strong against Tron because it can mow down a Karn pretty quickly. Especially with 2, it can end the game very, very, very fast.
Yep, and it can also pick up Worm Coil Engine and stuff too, if that is a thing. Kind of makes Worm Coil a liability.
Yeah, and definitely in the matches that I played, I actually felt like Worm Coil was probably my best big mana spell because it can't be pierced, and it's just very, very hard for, Phoenix to race. So
yeah, it seems like without Thing in the Ice in play, Worm Coil is like almost unbeatable. But with a Thing in the Ice, it's like kind of does nothing almost.
And here's gonna be okay. So it looks like Jess decided to actually start getting going with her 1 Thing of the Ice instead of trying to play out the 2nd and beat in with both of them.
Yep. And Corey has assembled turn 3 Tron, as one might expect from a 7-card keep. So
no way. There's got to be. It's just a forest into a, I don't know, some land searchy spell. Just too slow. All right. So Jess is 2 away here from flipping her Phoenix, but her hand is actually kind of bad.
Yeah, she needs to find Faithless Looting, basically.
Yeah. That would have been the best draw here, right? Because she would be swinging for 6.
Yep.
Yeah.
But she can also just cast Phoenixes too, which is actually it's a little bit awkward if she hasn't flipped her Thing in the Ice first. But if she draws something like Gut Shot next turn or whatever, I don't know exactly what her list is, but some 0 mana spell, she can play that, flip the thing, and then cast a Phoenix and hit for 10, and that would be a 2-turn clock. But here comes Karn.
Yeah,
hopefully.
No, there's nothing. Got nothing. Nothing here. Just a Worm Coil Engine, maybe. Worm Coil.
I hope not. I certainly hope not. Oh, Chromatic start with bad start.
Yes. Victory for the heroes here. When I play, so for people who follow me on Twitter, I am always like talking smack about Tron and how much I really dislike it. So it felt a little filthy to be playing it the first time. So now that I'm done and now that I've purged it from my system, I just want to see it stumble and play just absolutely terribly.
Yeah, that's just isn't that just the worst thing though? You win with a deck and then you're back to hating it again. I mean, that's kind of rude. I feel you don't think so?
I mean, it is rude, but I mean, I think that's fair game for me.
Okay, fair enough. You got to stay on brand wherever you can.
Yeah, it's just hard because like I'm just thrust into this role. Like I got to be spiky. I've got to win this. So and it means putting aside my morals, for the team.
Yeah, I can respect that actually. I'm a big fan of sacrificing all your morals. So
So what does Jess do here? She can. I almost wonder if so. She's gonna flip her Thing in the Ice, but it's pretty cold to this Oblivion Stone, so it gets in for 7.
Yeah, so she has the bolt as well, so that's effectively 10. But yeah, I kind of think she wants to kind of slow things down a little bit and play for a little bit of a longer game because the Oblivion Stone is going to be you don't want to overextend into Oblivion Stone.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, she can just hit for 7 here, and then I assume that is Corey at that point forced the next turn to, pop the stone if he doesn't have any action, just to keep from going to down to 6? Because like 6 is a pretty low life total against a deck with Lightning Bolt.
I think so. Yeah, I think if Jess just passes here, Corey is kind of forced to use both the Relic and the Oblivion Stone. To not, yeah, if he goes to 6, then he can just get double bolted, and that's kind of dangerous. So he'll have to use the stone in combat probably, and then Jess can just play the other thing in the ice and set up for presumably lethal even the following turn.
Wait, do you think that's the right play? Like playing it because she doesn't. I guess she has a couple instants and sorceries in her hand, but is that better than just hard casting an Arclight Phoenix and putting Corey to 10? And then
Well,
having it again the next turn to put him down to 4.
If Corey waits until combat to use the stone, then it would have to be a post combat Arclight.
Right. Oh yeah.
So then in that case, I mean, it could still be right to play the Arclight there because if she has to hard cast it, it saves her the mana.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not entirely sure on that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the other option is like Thing in the Ice and maybe Manamorphose and hope to hit a Faithless Looting.
All right, so here's Ugin. That's a pretty powerful one. I'm hoping that Corey remembers that Thing in the Ice is
it's 0. Just do 0.
It's 2 CMC on the backside. He might not know the rules on this.
Come on, 0. 0 one time.
He got it. He got it. All right. Thank you, Corey. Thank you. I'm always nervous that like Corey is an unbelievable Magic player, but he's not always up to date on all the rules of the game. So
yeah, I mean this rule change, which happened I think like what a couple years ago, a year ago, it has caught me unaware too.
Yeah, I think it happened. Yeah, it was about I think around then, about a year ago or so. All right.
And go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say the Ugin kind of puts a lot of pressure on Jess now.
Yeah, she's in a tough spot because like I remember the first game against Corey where I was in a very similar position as Corey, where sure you could cast a Phoenix and like knock Ugin down too, but then he can just pop himself back up. At least in this case, the Phoenixes can come back, so that's something that Jess has going in her favor. But
yeah, and it looks like she actually can kill Ugin with Phoenix plus Bolt, but then she's just deployed so many of her resources, and Corey still has the relic, still has the Oblivion Stone, and I think Corey can even can do funky tricks where he like activates the relic and then with that on the stack blows up the stone, and so by the time the relic actually exiles everything, the Phoenixes are in the graveyard by then. So
that seems like a really solid play. A little tricky to manage. Like there's a lot of clicks to make that happen. I know that you could like talking that all out loud with your opponent, being like, "I'm going to do this thing," and then while that's happening, I'm going to do this thing. That's all well and good, and then you have to be like, "How do I actually make that happen?"
Yeah. All right. Looks like Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, is about to get hungry.
Yeah, and I think that probably is going to seal the game up for Corey here.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, especially with the relic activation too, to get the Phoenix out of the graveyard. It's going to be really tough for Jess to come back from that.
I mean, she drew a mountain, which I think is what she needed. But like she needs, I think here she just attacks for 3, and she has to go, I think, at Corey's face.
Agreed. So she also attacked Corey's face last turn too, instead of going at the Ugin, which she could have killed Ugin if she wanted to, but going at the face and trying to set up for a win that way is probably a better plan when your opponent has Tron and a bunch of cards in their hand. Like they're gonna have something else. Like you just want to get them dead.
Yep, and like she actually has a decent chance of that actually happening here because she puts Corey to 7. She has a gut shot to put him to 6 and a bolt to put him to 3. So she's just a lightning bolt or even a snapcaster. Yeah, a snapcaster would do it too, right?
Yep. Yeah, she has outs here for sure. She only has 1 turn to do it though, because Ulamog will pretty much, I guess, probably double kill her on the second attack, either through decking and also damage. And we don't know what's in Corey's hand. Like if he has a second Ulamog, she's dead. If he has a Ballista, she's dead. So
do you know if because things are a little goofed up with the windows here. Is Corey's deck running a couple Ulamogs?
Let me take a look at his list here. It looks like he has 2 Ulamogs and 1 Ballista.
Okay.
So
So quite a bit different list than what we were running.
Now, if he had a card, if he has a card in the Great Creator, is there something, a card he can find? I guess he could get Trinisphere. So if Corey has Karn, that would also probably lock the game up because I don't think Jess can beat a Trinisphere here. But
is Trinisphere right? So, Corey shouldn't, like, I assume Corey's thinking that like Burn is Jess's only out here. So he could also get a Chalice put it on 1, right? Which would look out Gut Shot and Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has Chalice in his sideboard.
Okay.
But otherwise, that would be another line too. That would lock out. Chalice on 1 would probably lock the game up too, for exactly that reason. Or even a Lattice if he has enough mana. If he had enough mana.
Yeah, it looks like there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 11. Oh yeah, there's enough mana just to get Lattice here.
All right, what is this going to be? Worm Coil. So that's not it. That will give Jess a chance.
Yep, come on. So Lightning Bolt, Snapcaster. I think that's 4 outs. Can I use am I allowed to use a 1 time for my teammate?
Is this your 1 time or your 3/4 time?
Are there any cards that prolong the game here? I don't think there's any cards that get her next turn.
Don't think so. I think it has to be the 1 time.
I think I have to use the 1 time.
Oh, Manamorphose. That would have been your 3/4 time as the Manamorphose.
All right. What do we got here?
All right. Let's see what Manamorphose.
I wonder if she's going to, like, it looks like she was almost considering casting Thing of the Ice and then just playing her 3 spells, which would bounce Worm Coil and Ulamog, but don't win her the game.
No, I don't think that's a winning. I don't think that'll be a winning line. I think you want to go for the Morphos and just try to have to hit. Okay, so she's going for the Thing.
I mean, I guess she can do it at instant speed, but the problem is that just she can bounce, Ulamog, but then just gets recast and eats her 2 mountains, and then the game is over.
Yep. Also, even Corey can also even just blow up the Oblivion Stone, which isn't going to kill the Ulamog, but will kill the Thing in the ice. And then Ulamog can just attack for lethal that way too.
Sure.
Looks like the Manamorphose found a land anyway, so that kind of irrelevant either way.
Yeah. In the end, it doesn't even matter.
No.
Or whatever the thing it is for Magic now. In the end, Corey had Tron lands. All right,
Turn 3 Tron with another victim. Yeah.
And he just had it naturally too, right? He didn't have to search for it or anything.
He did have the scrying on turn 2, actually.
Oh, did he have a scrying? Okay.
Yeah, he did. It wasn't quite that much of a brutality, but.
All right, so it looks like we're taking out. All right, I can't quite see what Jess is taking out. It looks like we're killing Gut Shots.
Looks like some sort of some sort of moon type effects are coming in. Spell Pierce.
Yeah, also got the 1 Alpine Moon and 2 Blood Moons.
Yep. It looks like an Alpine Moon, 2 Abrades, 2 Blood Moons, 2 Spell Pierce, and 2 Ceremonious Rejections are coming in. Not sure what came out. It looks like Pyromancer Ascension went out, which that makes sense against Relica Progenitus.
The Gut Shots definitely came out.
Gut Shot came out. Maybe some number of bolts. It looks like a couple of bolts came out as well.
Well, it looks like 3 bolts actually. Now, Corey and I were talking about this exact thing about whether you should be taking out bolts anymore, because yes, they're really, really bad against almost everything that Tron is doing, but they also can kill a Karn.
Yeah.
Like the little Karn. And maybe that's a good enough reason to leave them in. Probably not, but I just don't know. It's really tough.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think I would lean towards. I'm not really an expert in this deck, so somebody can me for sure. But I would lean towards wanting to be also just getting them dead. Like Bolt just gets them dead sometimes. So
yeah, and like I saw the first match where Corey the match against Corey in game 2 where he had like the very early Alpine Moon, but didn't follow it up with things to get me dead. And if he had been hitting with Phoenixes on turn 3, I probably would have lost the game, but it was just taking too long to get me dead. And so, yeah, it might definitely be right to just keep those dead cards in. The getting dead cards, not the dead cards.
Yeah, keep those gut shots in. That'll get them dead if they're at exactly 1 life, which is good enough for me. All right,
so
looks
she's
like
got-
Jess has a thing again, which is her best threat.
I actually think it's pretty solid here because she's got a cycling spell in Manamorphose, which I think she wants. Oh boy, now she's in a tough position because I think she wants to keep Ceremonious Rejection now. Keep that up.
Yeah, I would guess that she's not aiming to flip the thing next turn, but maybe in 2 turns. Ooh, is that Alpine Moon?
Ooh,
That's a big draw.
That's a nice draw.
So now she could go Manamorphose for blue-red, play Alpine Moon, play Serum Visions, or Thought Scour, whichever you prefer.
I think Thought Scour, because that's 3. No, it's 3 instants or sorceries, so it might just be better to do the Serum Visions then. Because you
I
won't
think
be
I like
bringing
the
back
Visions
Phoenixes.
too, because if you find Phoenix off your Serum Visions, you can keep them on top and then scour them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it looks like she drew in a Braid. Okay, there's the Alpine Moon.
I'm gonna see if she's following the same line of thought as we are, of like leading with Serum Visions.
Mm-hmm. Looks like she is.
Yep, I don't think that's the right call. Unfortunately, we don't get to see what she's scrying, but hopefully, a Blood Moon too.
Yeah, she found a Blood Moon, which to me that suggests that she's going to want to find the 3rd land that allows her to cast the Blood Moon.
Yeah, is it like so since she already has Alpine Moon now, like how I think it's more vital that she gets with the killing, right, than with the Blood Mooning.
Right. I think Blood Moon's a good one to have in hand, but it's not something I would want to play next turn because if Corey just plays an Oblivion Stone or something like that, you don't want to lose, like, you don't have all your eggs in one basket.
Yep.
So I think
that's fair. It does die pretty badly to Blast Zone.
Yeah.
Which we have.
We actually saw Blast Zone was actually really good in the game that you played against Corey. So.
Yeah, I mean, it killed out the Alpine Moon, which like let me get that big burst of mana the following turn and just end the game.
So I'm wondering if Corey has it doesn't look like he has any removal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this feels like when I was practicing, this feels like the classic Tron spinning your wheels. You're just like, I'm just going to keep digging and digging and hope to like shape my hand up.
Yep. I think Corey is so it doesn't look like Corey has anything like Dismember in his sideboard or anything along those lines. A card that would be quite good here just to not die to the thing in the ice. Without that, he's on a really fast clock and just has a lot of instant speed interaction. So,
and she's definitely going to get to flip her thing in the ice here,
and
while also holding up Ceremonious Rejection.
Yeah.
So it's looking good for the heroes here. It's looking good for the people who are not playing Tron.
Yeah, the hero thing. The thing about heroes is sometimes they suck. Sometimes the villain is the real true hero of the story.
Do you think
so?
So are you positing here that someday we're going to find out that Tron was the true hero that kept Modern in check? Like maybe someday they ban the Tron lands and everybody realizes it was a terrible mistake?
I could see a future where, because right now everyone wants Splinter Twin to be unbanned. Splinter Twin was kind of a villain, but it was also like, holding Modern in check. So maybe that's our future in 3 years.
Hey, you know what? Anybody who says bring back Twin gets my vote. Even if you are on the wrong team, if you say bring back Twin, I'm in favor of what you're saying.
I would. I don't know how I feel about Twin actually. So.
Yeah, I think in the current Modern it's probably fine, but I can see Wizards of the Coast not messing around.
So I really like that play from Jess. Corey played a Oblivion Stone, but because of the Alpine Moon, he doesn't have to use it. And instead of countering it with Ceremonious Rejection, she just used a Braid in her hand and kept the rejection.
Yeah, I think that's really smart because I think one of Corey's outs here is just hard casting a Wormcoil Engine.
Yep. And that looks like that's going to be the game. So.
All right. Way to go, Jess.
A quick thing in the ice and a lot of disruption seems like the ticket against Tron.
Yeah, it's gonna be harder for her on the draw here, though. You know, if Corey is just a giant luck sack again and just has Tron on 3, like luck sacks do, then I think, man, it's just so hard. Like, you've got a couple Pierces and you've got a couple Ceremonious Rejections, but
yeah,
just that one big spell and the game is basically over.
He did register Tron, which is basically saying, like, my goal is to be the luckiest I can be. So I'm hoping that he gets to sack his way as hard as possible. Let me ask you this. Is there any worse feeling in Magic than being on the draw against Tron? I want to say that there just isn't.
It's really bad. So there used to be one that so I'm a big Legacy player. Legacy is my favorite format, and there was definitely one for me personally that felt worse. Is like you go like turn 1 Flooded Strand, and you're like, I'm playing because I love to play Miracles. I loved since the countertop, and your opponent's like, that's a very nice Flooded Strand. I'm just gonna play this Cloud Post tapped, and you're like,
yeah.
oh no, this hurts so much. But the Tron land on turn 1, where you're like, oh well, they're gonna have Karn on turn 3, and I'm gonna lose the land, and the game's over.
That's how it often feels.
Right up there.
All right. So Corey has he kept 7 cards? I can't tell. Looks like he's
down to
6.
6.
Corey's down to 6. Jess's hand has a lot of interaction, but lacks the pressure. I would probably keep that, but she needs to find more lands and also probably hoping to draw like Thing in the Ice or something.
Yeah, I think I keep this too, just because she has a lot of ways to dig towards the land. Between like the Faithless Looting, the 2 cantrips, like it could go very badly for her though. I mean, I've been in this spot before where you do that turn 1 land and you cast your Faithless Looting and you don't see any lands, and then you cantrip the next turn and then you're done.
Or even if you do see lands, then you're looking at a bunch of like random pieces of interaction, and you're like, all right, Spellfierce your first Karn, counter your next thing, but then die to the third thing if you don't have a way to close the game before it gets out of control.
It looks like she drew a Ceremonious Rejection, which I think is going to be pretty strong here, because Corey did go down a card. And Tron, often it assembles it assembles Tron, but it just has that one piece to end the game, because usually just needs that one piece to end the game.
I agree. Corey going down to 6 cards. It's hard. The lower you go with Tron, the less likely it is that you have both ways to get Tron and things to do with them. So being able to have like Ceremonious Rejection is exactly what you want.
Yeah. Now, okay, I think Spire Bluff Canal was one of Jess's best draws, because I thought she was faced with a really tough choice to either like sit and do nothing and hold up Ceremonious Rejection and Thought Scour, or try to Faithless Looting and hope to hit a land and then be able to have Ceremonious Rejection. But it looks like she drew a really good card for her, but she still is lacking ways to actually end the game.
Yeah, so I think she's probably trying. I think in her spot, I would want to be drawing into lands, and then also trying to put like Phoenix into my yard, because Phoenix might be the best threat right now with her hand being so cantrip heavy and land light. But Corey has Tron, and she only has 2 ways to interact with whatever he can do. So
Chromatic Star. All right. Well, that's a good start, because it puts him down to 6 mana. So it could still mean a Worm Coil Engine. Yeah. But it could also just mean that Corey just does not have any gas at this point.
This looks like that's bad for...
Oh, no.
That's bad for the heroes, but it's good for the brothers who bash.
Yeah, Thragtusk is excellent on this board, because it's actually a reasonably fast clock, and it just buys Corey, even if his hand is nothing but dead cards right now, it just gives him so much more time to find something that closes the game.
Now, one thing that's interesting is that Jess has Lightning Bolt, and I think that's Set Adrift in her hand, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
So she can actually 2-for-1 herself to get rid of the Thragtusk, which that will at least prevent her from like dying.
Yeah, I think for now she's probably a little bit safe to just ignore the Thragtusk and try to find ways to kill Corey. Like killing Thragtusk is all well and good, but Corey's gonna have infinite time to draw into an Ugin or a Karn or a Ulamog if she's not like putting his life total to 0.
Right. I think in her spot too, she might be looking to try to hit 2. So if she can find, okay, there's Alpine Moon. That looks pretty good. But if she could find 2 lands, that would allow her to go on turn 5, Crackling Drake, and still hold up the interaction. And then Drake's a fast clock.
It is a very fast clock.
So this is a really tough decision to make on this Faithless Looting.
So now, do you think that she here, so she's played her land drop for the turn.
Right.
So do you think she holds up Ceremonious Rejection, or does she slam Alpine Moon?
I would be inclined to slam the Alpine Moon, because that way you know your opponent's not going to do something degenerate the very next turn, most likely, and then you get to save your 2 pieces of interaction. And if you don't play the Moon now, you're going to have to probably rejection whatever Corey's next play is, and that kind of burns that card out of your hand, where it's like maybe your best card. So I would be inclined to just play the Moon and like cross my fingers that like the next turn's not bad.
Yeah, so if she does slam Alpine Moon, then what is Corey's best draw here, or best spell? Is it Oblivion Stone to like clear that away? Is it a Blast Zone?
Could also just be the 4th land, Karn the Great Creator. Possibly that's the best thing that he could do too. I mean, the best would be like Forest, Nature's Claim, and then Karn Liberated or whatever. But that seems unlikely.
Yeah, I feel like. Do you think if he had Karn, so the turn he cast Thragtusk, do you think if he had Karn, you just cast Karn there? I think you probably do, right? So he probably or Thragtusk.
It's interesting because Tusk is going to resolve.
Sure, and I guess he does know Jess has 2 pierces and 2 rejections.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Corey would do there. I know Corey's very good at playing Tron, but I don't know. That would be a question I'd have to ask him on that one. Like I don't know which one is correct.
Yeah, it's kind of my years of saying absolutely horrible things about Tron on Twitter have left me bereft of knowledge as to actually what is the best line there.
It's like every negative thing you say about Tron is like one less point towards playing Tron or something, I guess.
So that's kind of rough. So I think this is a little tough for Jess because she really wanted a land here to get this Drake into play to start the killing. Yeah,
I think I would have kept one of the lands the previous turn on the Faithless Looting and pitched. I probably would have pitched Set Adrift, I think.
I think so too, because when I think about the things that Corey, like, it's very good against Wormcoil Engine specifically, and just Wormcoil Engine. Like, it's very if Corey slams Karn or Ugin, well, Ugin's I guess okay, but like Karn or Ulamog, it's just like, well, I can't Set Adrift that. Like, it's just a dead card.
I mean, you can, but you probably won't like the outcome.
Yeah, for sure. And now she's just kind of sitting here. Like, she doesn't really have. I guess she could flashback Faithless Looting, which is a little bit risky.
It is, because if she doesn't hit the land, then she's left.
But I think it's right, just because she does have lightning. Oh, that's rough. She does have lightning bolt at least to like end Karn. So if Karn, comes down and gets, drafted Girk's Cage, I assume, or something along those lines, she can at least clear it off with the lightning bolt. But
yeah, it's gonna be a tough one here. Depends on what Corey has access to. So he's probably actually getting a forest here with the expedition map. Oh, maybe Blast Zone actually. Yeah, it's probably Blast Zone.
Yeah.
So that's gonna mean that next turn's gonna be devastating. Plus the Thragtusk is also now a 2-turn clock. So.
Yeah. And just did pitch her Blood Moon from earlier. So we gotta like hit pretty good on these Manamorphoses. And it
Yeah,
could still
there's
hit it could still hit a Blood Moon.
Yep. It's a Braid, probably not what she's looking for. There is Phoenix that comes back. Phoenix is actually a good defensive answer against Thragtusk, but playing defense against Thragtusk against a Tron opponent who's about to unlock Tron is not exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, she's probably not feeling super good about that. I mean, she does have a Ceremonious Rejection, and Corey has just 4 cards in hand, but I mean, that could be 2 Karns, an Ulamog, and an Ugin right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think she just keeps digging with this Manamorphose, right?
Yeah, I think I played the third one here. That's going to bring back Phoenix, and that's also going to let you have the choice of casting the Crackling Drake too if you want to.
All right, looks like she is going for mowing down the Thragtusk and doing the 2-for-1 thing that you suggested earlier.
Mm-hmm. Bolt plus Set Adrift, get rid of the Tusk completely, get Phoenix back, attack. But Corey at being at 25 life, it's going to take a while. Without something thing. Yeah.
Like it's hard to tell on my screen, but I think like Crackling Drake is we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's like a 9-4 right now. 11-4, sorry. So like that's a 2-turn clock here.
It is. Yeah, if Corey's hand is bad, which is certainly possible, and just isn't forced to use the Ceremonious Rejection, there's certainly a chance that she can go Crackling Drake and hold up Rejection, and then that will do it. Okay, Corey. Let's see, Corey. I keep forgetting that Blast Zone costs 3 to sack. I even tried to do that against you.
You gotta have 4 lands. Yep. He has to take this turn off.
Right. Yeah, he still has access to the Urza's Tower. Potentially both towers if he has another land to play this turn.
Yeah, now give him access to 6 mana, which is good enough for a Karn or a Wormcoil Engine. But both those would get stuffed by Ceremonious Rejection.
Indeed. The fact that Corey has to take this turn off means that Jess actually might have the chance to get Crackling Drake out there.
Yeah, I think is her best draw just a land, an untapped land?
I think it might be. I think it might be. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so Corey does have access to 6 mana here. And given that he's doing this fairly aggressively, I assume that he's going to try to cast a Karn or Wormcoil Engine here.
Yeah, I would wager there is a spell about to be cast off the 6. It is Wormcoil.
All right. So now this is an interesting question. Does Jess abrade it?
I actually think she does. I think she saves the rejection. I think she lets it resolve, abrades it, keeps Phoenix back on defense to trade with one of the tokens, and then is hoping to get the land to play Drake while also holding up rejection.
Yep. Yeah, she could still win this. Like, that Wormcoil Engine is not enough to lock this game out.
Oh, definitely not. No. Yeah, I actually think that this game is reasonably close right now. Like, I would say that Corey's probably a little bit favored on the chance that Jess doesn't hit the land or something else. Well, that's a big draw.
Whew, that is nice.
I like leading with Manamorphose here because that gives you another look at the land. And I think if you hit the land, it's a Spire Bluff Canal.
No. All right. Well, so I assume now she's just going to slam the Blood Moon and hold up rejection.
That would be my guess as well.
Corey's in a tough spot because he hasn't shown that he has access to Oblivion Stone. Because I think he probably just would have played it earlier.
I think so too. I don't think Corey has the stone unless he's drawn it last turn.
And I think if he had the little Karn, I think he would have played that. Well, I think you probably play that. Well, I'm not sure if you play that over Wormcoil Engine, given that there's a Phoenix on board. But boy, this is so close. Man, it's like killing me that I don't know what Corey's hand is.
I know. I wish we could see the hand here to know what he has. I would say that Corey is probably. I would put Corey as favored here right now because Jess has to block defensively on a Worm Coil token, and because Blood Moon actually shuts her out from triple blue as well, she can't do the Crackling Drake plus Rejection line next turn outside of drawing actually just drawing basic island, which I don't know if she even has more than 2 in her deck.
I think she may just have 2. Now here, which one do you block? Because the lifelink one does put you, further behind on killing them, but you're going to have to block that Death Touch one at a certain point because her life total is getting low. And
I think you block the Death Touch one because you need Crackling Drake to be able to deal.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think that was the right block.
Yeah. Thing in the Ice. That's actually a really good draw too.
Yeah, it's solid. It can block. It can chump that Worm Coil engine for days. Interesting. This is an interesting play. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I would have done this or just like gotten that Crackling Drake down, because that Drake is a 2-turn clock here.
Yeah, I think I would have taken. I think I would have taken the time to get the Drake out because you have to find a way to win. Corey may be locked under the Blood Moon, but you can still cast Ulamog with 10 lands.
Yeah, and he's just like 1 mana away from having Big Karn.
Yeah.
Would unlock the Blood Moon, and then I think pretty much just seal up the game.
I do like the Thing in the Ice does block the lifelink token pretty well, though. Is this going to be Karn?
Nope.
So that's going to get rejected.
Yep.
But that takes a counter off the Thing, and that is going to free her up to cast the Drake the next turn. But we don't know exactly what's in Corey's hand here. It looks like, what does he have? 3 cards in his hand, I think.
Just 2.
Oh, just 2? Okay.
But given that he's not been like doing a bunch of stuff, I'm going to assume it's probably gas. Why should you do another Drake?
Yeah, that second Drake's pretty big.
So like if it's just a Karn here, that's not great for Corey, because it can kill a Drake. I guess it's okay, but then it gets killed by Phoenix, or it goes to 1, and then I guess it's a Drake. I'm not sure.
So what did Corey get off that Ancient Stirrings? I couldn't tell. Was it Karn the Great Creator? Oblivion Stone. Looks like. Okay. That's really what he needed for sure. Oh, that is a huge draw.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay.
That is going to flip Thing in the Ice and abrade the Oblivion Stone, if I'm not mistaken.
And what else does she get? Like, what else do you think she gets here? She gets access to a sorcery. Is it instant or sorcery? Yeah, 1 sorcery, 1 instant, right?
Right. So the instant's probably going to be abrade to blow up the Oblivion Stone. I'm not sure what the best option for a sorcery is. Maybe like Sleight of Hand, probably the best one, just to give you the best card this turn rather than next turn with
Sincere Visions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is so big. Close. My heart is like pounding here.
I want to say with that top deck that I think Jess is pretty firmly favored at the moment.
Yeah, like what? So is a Ugin, I think, would be the best here, right? I guess Ulamog would be fine too. No, she's too far away.
Yeah.
It's too far. So like if he has a land and then draws an Ugin, I think that's probably his best draw here. Wow, that abrade was so huge. And Smart End just to attack first.
Yeah, that's a good attack. Get in the hit with a Crackling Drake before you flip your Thing in the Ice. Now, the Thing in the Ice flipping does mean that she doesn't have lethal next turn, but...
She does get to put him down, so she'll get to put him down to 4 if she wants, or she can just play out another Crackling Drake.
I think Corey may have made a mistake the previous turn, not attacking with his lifelink token, even though he would just be throwing it away to the Crackling Drake. He's probably going to blow up Oblivion Stone the following turn anyway. Might as well gain that 3 points of life, which would have been super relevant here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think he's winning by, like, he's going to win by casting an Ugin and just, like, ending the game. Yeah. He just needs to stay alive long enough to get there.
This is putting a fate counter on the Thing. So
she can
Corey
pick
still
up
has a lot
another
of
Spell Pierce, another Thought Scour. Okay.
yeah, it's a scour. Corey still has a lot of live draws here, but he has very little time to find them. And he drew a blank, according to us.
Well, I mean that's the 8th land. I mean, if he gets Ugin off the top, he can still win this.
He just passed the turn, so he has nothing. Well, that is 9 lands, though. He might have Ulamog. He could have land 10 Ulamog. So
is land 10 Ulamog enough here? Probably. She gets to like Faithless Looting away a Phoenix here.
Does she have another Phoenix in her graveyard earlier, or did that one get exiled?
She has 2 Phoenixes in her graveyard.
So this would be the third. Was this the third or the second one?
This is the third one. So she has 3 Phoenixes in her. Yeah, she is lethal
so
now.
That's just lethal then, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yes.
Wow, that was a really sick game.
This is amazing. Like,
yeah,
I've actually really enjoyed. I mean, but all of the Tron versus Phoenix matchups have been like at least interesting. Like normally a lot of Tron matchups, you're just like they're super lopsided, and you're like, well, that wasn't a game. But these have all really felt like games, which is nice.
I agree. Yeah, these have both been like quite insane games, and that was a hell of a turnaround. That thing in the ice. I mean, Corey was at 20-something life, had a Thragtusk that was almost lethal, and then just like that, like 3 turns later, he's basically dead, or 4 turns later. So
yeah, and remember how you talked about how you thought he should have attacked with that Worm Coil token? He ended the game at -2 life. He could have been at 1 there and been live to draw Ugin.
Yep, he would have been live to draw an Ugin, live to draw an Oblivion Stone, anything like that to unlock another turn. Yeah, and the thing is anytime you get an extra turn to, that's insane. You know, that could do some disgusting things.
Yep, for sure. So that was a wonderful. That was a great game to get to commentate. That's the word that you use.
Comments.
I'm really good at this job. I should do this for a living. But yeah, even without knowing his hand, I thought that was like just wonderful. And actually, I think it added a lot of really cool suspense. We're like, oh my gosh, does he have it? Does he have the Ugin?
Yeah, I thought it was cool too. It's like if you had to pick one deck where you didn't get to see their hand, you would definitely pick Tron, right?
For sure, because like you just never know. They're either gonna draw something absolutely terrible or something that wins the game. It's like a miracle every time, or not a miracle, but it's never a 3/4 draw. It's never that 3/4 time.
It's not. You don't have to use your 3/4 time on that one. So isn't that like a music thing? I'm not sure.
Yeah. All right. So next up, so we get to go to a 6th round. That is very exciting.
Well, I think it's unfortunate, actually. But I guess teach their own.
I mean, I guess if you're afraid of losing the 6th round and then the 7th round, I mean, I guess I can see why you would think it was, in fact, unfortunate.
I do have the fear. I'm quaking in my boots. Were I wearing any? So
I know we have Dredge the final round. So I think winning this round, I think, will be really key for the Brother Subash.
I agree, because I'm playing the final round, and if there's one thing that I do well in Magic, it's to Dredge. So I'm hoping we can clinch it in the 6th round and not have to worry about that. That's the dream.
All right, so
it looks like match 6 is Brad versus Nerd Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I think Brad is on Tron.
Actual Tron. And Nerd Girl is on Burn, which is historically like a really good matchup for Burn.
It is. But maybe Karn the Great Creator changes all that.
It's not enough. It's never enough. Not enough. No. And we'll have who we have doing the commentating. We'll have Randy back and Corey. So it should be a really fun round where we get to watch the stream team steamroll over Tron, and then we get to watch round 7, which I'm very excited for.
So if you like Tron, this is the week for you. Yeah, there's nothing but Tron.
All right.
So are we?
Are we still live?
Yeah.
Am I still talking to the world? I feel like a god.
I feel like whoever gets crushed underfoot by a god. What is that? What is like a peon? Is that a good? Yeah.
I think so. So
Okay.
some or the Therosians. I suppose they got crushed under gods, and so did a bunch of planeswalkers on Ravnica, and
That is true.
it's actually really bad for people who are smaller than God's feats in general in Magic.
Yeah, that's kind of a traditional fantasy thing. Is if you're not a god, they're probably not going to do good things for you. So.
Well, as long as we're not getting cut off here, I think my daughter is making sounds. So if we're still on here, I'm gonna get a 3-year-old and she can like make funny faces at the camera. So I guess
That sounds awesome. I'm going to be a 3-year-old myself, and that's what I'm going to do. All right, it looks like we're cutting to ads now. Sorry.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Welcome back to Team Modern Super League. I'm Randy Bueller, joined by Corey Baumeister. Corey, I knew you wanted to do a round of commentary with me tonight, but I didn't expect you to lose with Tron against Phoenix just to get us to match 6.
You got to go to extreme. You got to go to extreme measures to commentate with the people you want to, and I just wanted to take the hit here to commentate with a historian like yourself. So.
Well, I appreciate the love, but I feel like the Burn deck may be favored here against Tron from the Stream Team side. If Nerd Girl can burn Brad to 20 before he gets set up, it goes to a game 7, and then Jess Estefan with that Dredge deck, she feels pretty good about her matchup against humans. She's even got tech. She's got Blast Zone in the Dredge deck, Life from the Loam as many times as necessary, so she doesn't just die to Oriok Champion.
Yeah, I mean, I played Dredge at this last Mythic Championship, and the thing that I truly struggled with was Oriok Champion. I just couldn't beat it, but we did not have Blast Zone, and I think having a colorless way to deal with that, it doesn't matter if you only have one, you find it in Dredge. So that honestly will flip the matchup quite a bit, and game 1 already is pretty favored for Dredge. It's the post-board games that are really tough, but BBD is an expert of the humanitarian tribe, so I believe in him.
Yeah, fair enough. No, it's definitely neither. I don't think either of these matches is lopsided. But I thought that you guys had done your bashing, right? Up 3-1, up a game from the Tron side. We couldn't really see your hand that last match. I know that you were apologizing for the technical difficulties when we were off camera.
Yeah, sorry about that.
From our perspective, is that we couldn't really see what was going on. Were there any interesting moments from your perspective, knowing, of course, what you had in your hand about those 2 sideboarded games?
I think there were 2 interesting spots. Game 1 and game 2 were pretty both lopsided. Kind of, she destroyed me game 2, I destroyed her game 1. But game 3, there were, I think, 2 critical playing points where I could have played Thrag Tusk, like the turn I played it, or Wormcoil Engine. And I was, she had 1 open mana. I know absolutely nothing she could do to a Thrag Tusk, so I played that, and I'm pretty sure she had it. Pretty sure she had Spellpierce and Ceremonious, even though that would have been the better play, but
she had both.
Okay, so that's what I figured.
Completely correct. If you go with Wormcoil there, I think she just rolls you. So Thragtusk for sure absolutely put the pressure on. Well, so what was the second one real quick? Sounds like our match is ready. I want to get down, but you were saying there was a second point. Can you summarize it real quick?
The second point was that the Oblivion Stone at the end, when I only had 4 mana open, I was playing around Ceremonious and Spell Pierce when really a Braid would have blown me out, and it did. So that was a frustrating one.
Oh, hypothetically, you can wait a turn and play it when you have 8 up so that you can play it and blow it?
Exactly. And then that gets around the finality, a Braid
because
combo.
It's a sorcery. That might have changed things. We might still be playing.
Exactly.
I don't know. It felt like a really good match. Super well played from both sides, from what I could tell. But
yeah, she played phenomenally. Absolute masterclass plays from her end, and I think she had to play perfectly, otherwise she didn't have a chance. Because that Alpine Moon, the turn she played it, if she didn't, I had 10 mana and Ulamog. And I didn't think there was a chance I was losing that game. But
your last card was Ulamog. Wow.
It was. I had it the whole time. I was always 1 turn away every single time.
We knew you always had 1 card left. All right. Well, Jess did play perfectly. She did get that 3rd game from Corey. So now it's 3-2, and we're headed down to a match 6 to see if the Stream Team can even this up and send us to a decider.
Let's do it.
All right, MTG Nerd Girl's got a solid. It's a 1-lander, but with a Goblin Guide and a Swift Spear. Brad won the die roll, so he gets play draw choice.
Yep, and it looks like he shipped back. It's definitely a keep. You have to, but
yeah, it's only 1. It's also a 1-lander, but with 2 Ancient Stirrings and 1 Chromatic Star.
He shipped back, notably, a 2 Tron land relic, and then green cards, but no way to access that 3rd one. I think it's super close. I think I would have been inclined to keep it and hope to get lucky off your relic, but this easily might be the correct play as well, and I think this is reasonable. He's got one of the most important cards in the matchups in the form of Wormcoil. That's really what it's all about. So,
well, his Scry does find him a 2nd land, but it's a 2nd copy of Tower.
Dang.
I actually didn't see if he put that top or bottom. I assume you put it top just to have raw land count.
I would think so, because then no matter what, you draw land, but that
also
Tower is not getting you closer to Wormcoil, really. Realistically.
Look, there is also a decent chance you're going to get attacked by Goblin Guide on turn 1.
Pretty solid chance. I think we're mulliganing back up to, or we're not mulliganing at all now.
Yeah, and Nerd Girl did go down to 6. She did not want to keep the one lander. It only had it didn't have many ones. It had a bunch of 2s in it. So
well, if you recall our first match where MTG Nerd Girl kept the one lander and it did not go well against BBD. I think didn't want that.
Oh,
to
he
happen.
bottomed!
No,
He bottomed the second tower. So Karn has been revealed.
Oh, that is
Hilarious.
the worst possible. Oh yeah, at least it's the lesser
It's
cast
the new Karn, yeah. Little Karn.
Now we're gonna need to get a little lucky. Oh no.
This better hit.
Yeah, this definitely better hit. It's almost better to just get a forest if he has an option between that and another Tron land, but yeah, this one's not looking good.
Thinking.
There
It's a Tron land. You can see all the. Oh, yeah, it's the choice you just described. Do you want the Tron land or do you want the forest? It is a unique Tron land. It's a mine, or it's a forest capable of casting Ancient Stirrings.
I think I would take forest.
He went with the Urza's mine.
It's close. Maybe he's just thinking he's so far behind that the only way he's going to win here is if he can top deck a sphere or a star to check for stirrings or top deck that plant. Oh, and this is
How do you
triple
feel
goblin,
about
guys?
3 goblin guides coming over on turn 2?
Not good, Randy. Not good at all.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. This better hit a plant.
There's some variants involved. There's some variants involved in this right now.
Oh, no.
Sylvan Scrying. It is a green card on top of the library.
Scoop him up. Go to game 2. You just can't win. I mean, I guess if the next card is exactly power plant.
And she blanks.
6. Yeah, blanks for 2 turns in a row. 2 turns in a row. Has to blank of 2 turns for 3 damage.
That's not a blank. Technically, she can't cast the Rift Bolt and a Lightning Helix this turn, but...
That's true. That's true. I think the Suspend will do just fine.
Right. I can see death looming.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Goblin Guide.
Game 2 on the play with Thragtusk. Yeah, right on time. Right on time. Game 2 on the play with Thragtusk and Wormcoil. I would say favors Brad barely, but this is still a rough matchup. But then that game 3 is going to be rough on the draw.
Yeah, she is going to suspend the Rift Bolt. That makes sense.
Yep.
No reason she needs to reveal the Lightning Helix, but whatever. Your death is looming, and yeah, Brad's like, nothing I can do before that Rift Bolt comes off. Suspend. Let's go to sideboards. Wow.
Yeah.
MTG Nerd Girl up a quick game. Trips Goblin Guide will do it.
That will do it. That is about the best start you can truly hope. Is there a better one? Triple Swift Spear, maybe 2 Swift Spears and a Lightning Bolt. That's still less. Yeah, it's got to be the best start, right?
I mean, she did have 1 land more than she wanted.
That's true.
She had 1 or 2 lands more than she wanted.
That's
also,
true.
She started with 6 cards, but
should have gave some to Brad and made it more of a fair fight. So what does this look like post-board for mono red? Burn gets a Molten Rain, gets maybe smash to smithereens. Although I really like that card on the play from mono red. On the draw, you're really not expecting to get too many targets out of it. So not much is coming in from Burn, but like you said, it's a pretty good matchup. So I understand.
Does it make any sense to try to chain to the rocks a Wormcoil or a Thragtusk?
That definitely could be. Chain to the Rocks and Wormcoil, it's your biggest problem card.
But
you're
less likely to win the game before Wormcoil comes out. I guess on the draw, maybe you need to play a little defensive. I don't know.
On the draw, I think you do. Because on the draw, Burn players were bringing in Path to Exile, and it seems like nothing but an upgrade here. Just an upgrade. Against Thragtusk, it's worse because they get the 3/3 to attack the next turn, but that's, not super relevant.
That is a solid 5 spell 2 land.
Yeah.
Nerd Girl looking to tie this up at 3 in a hurry.
Yeah. We might have to be praying on BBD to win all our matches, similar like in the team series, actually.
Is he 2-0 tonight? I haven't been tracking it by player.
BBD is 2-0, yeah. I've been holding up the rear here. I've been holding them down.
All right.
I really thought I was going to win that last one.
Brad did not want to keep Tron plus Sylvan Scrying.
Yeah.
So he went to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Duplicate mine, I believe, got scryed to the bottom there.
Okay. Yeah, it was
he's got Tron, right? He's got the mine into the expedition map into the tower.
Exactly. And MTG Nerd Girl notably did bring in the Smash to Smithereens, but we're seeing how it lines up right here, Randy, that it's just like on the play, Swift Spear into Smash on the map, GG, pack them up, let's go home. But on the draw, I don't think it's going to do anything. I think she'd be lucky to find a target for it, but...
Well, there's another Expedition map. Yeah, Brad is more interested in cracking this one than playing the other, of course.
Exactly.
This doesn't suck. This is second Swift Spear into Bolt. Take, what is that, 7?
Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, it's pretty good. Brad's gonna need a top deck. He's got no gas. He's got Tron,
and he doesn't have green mana either.
No, and I'm guessing he took out some number of Karns because they're pretty bad in the matchup. So really, what you're expecting to get here is one of the 3 Worm Coils. Even a Thragtusk isn't good enough this turn. It'll be a fine card next turn if you were to get it, but I don't think that's going to be enough.
Brad's going to go ahead and crack his map. Does he need to get... Okay, he gets the tower.
He have to.
Now he's knocking the top of his deck. Yeah, next turn he can play map, crack it for Forest, turn on Ancient Stirrings, and have a look at more cards on the following turn.
Exactly. And the reason you get Tron here first is if you top deck Sphere or
you can
Star.
do exactly that!
Not bad. Not bad.
Sometimes you top deck Liberated.
Absolutely. Now, what does Brad do with this? I think you go upstairs, because if you go down, all you're doing is 2-for-1ing MTG Nerd Girl. But if you go upstairs, you're going to get a card. Smash to Smithereens is going to go away. But then, I mean, it's iffy if Brad is, facing lethal here after not too long. Takes a conservative play. I like that.
Goes down.
Now we're probably just going to see Rift Bolt to Karn and then attack for 2, I think, which is still great. This is an absorb 5 damage right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you can truly hope for from the Tron side.
And Brad knows that if he buys time, he gets to map for a Forest and get off an Ancient Stirrings.
Exactly.
There's Boros Charm. That'll be good later.
It's pretty strong.
So you think this is land, hard cast, Rift Bolt targeting Karn?
I think so. If you don't kill Karn now, you can expect that you get to discard Smash to Smithereens, which is fine. Then you kind of map it out. Maybe you just Boros Charm, hit the face. They take 6. You Rift Bolt. Rift Bolt comes off suspension. Yeah, actually, that's a way to lethal right now.
If you ignore,
you can ignore and win next turn. Brad would have to top deck something.
It's 10 points of burn plus the Swift Spear hits for 2.
Hits
That's
for
12.
4. Hits for 4.
Well, then gets to hit for 2 more. Well, actually gets to hit for probably a bunch more. Yeah, she's got a ton of damage by next turn.
Yeah, I think it's tempting to Rift Bolt the Karn out of fear, but I think the correct play here would just be face. Yeah, Boros Charm here, suspend a Rift Bolt. Kill the Karn. Kill the Karn. They were still in a bad spot, though, to be fair.
Yeah, killing the Karn leaves Brad with nothing, but I don't know how he gets out of it if she just sends it all face. It's 14 damage by her next turn.
Exactly. This is a close call.
She doesn't even have to attack, so even a Worm Coil off the top doesn't have time to block. She can deal 12 without attacking next turn.
Yeah, I think what you have to top deck here, if you're Brad, is Thragtusk. You have map off the tower to sack, get a Forest, gain 5, and that would be pretty solid here, but...
All right, looks like she's going face. There is the Boros Charm.
Is it being redirected? Actually, I think Boros Charm just says opponent now, right? That can't do that?
So? I think that's right.
Smart play by MTG Nerd Girl. Heads up.
It.
And did you know she has never played Modern? That is impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I mean, look, she came to the game streaming Arena.
Yeah. And just casually day 2's Mythic Invitational. No big deal.
Indeed.
I came here to play.
All right. Urza's mine off the top. Brad doesn't know she's got another Rift Bolt coming.
Yeah.
He's just dead, right?
No, he can stay alive if he makes one play. If he negatives Karn on Sacred Foundry. then MTG Nerd Girl would have to top deck something, and we have to
cast her 3-mana Rift Bolt. There's no chance that's the right play here.
We have to hope that she draws like another Smash of Smithereens or something, and not a third land for Rift Bolt. We got the line.
All right, what does Ancient Stirrings find? I mean, he probably thinks he's drawing live, especially if it's to Wormcoil. Can't get a Thragtusk with Ancient Stirring. So he found Karn Great Creator. Hello, what does that do?
4 mana, cast it and die, probably. Takes
All
that.
Right. Exiles the Swift Spear.
Now she untaps and Rift Bolt.
Can Karn get something? He hasn't played a land yet, has he? Or he's already played a land?
Yes, he played the Forest, yep.
Oh, so he can't put anything into play.
I think we got a game 7 coming, Randy.
I think she's got this.
She's got it. She's got it.
Rift Bolt to kill Brad by Exaxes.
Yeah.
Karn the Great Creator, Mycosynth Lattice combo in hand, and it's just not fast enough.
That's how it works, right?
3 more mana.
All you need is it to be in hand, and you lock it up, right?
Hilariously, if Brad had done your play and hit the Sacred Foundry, then the Mycosynth Lattice would have time to stop all future lands from ever tapping for mana.
Maybe.
And we'd have to have an investigation about Brad's ghosting abilities, of course.
Exactly.
there was the land anyway.
Would have hit the land, yep.
Wow. MTG Nerd Girl said, I don't care about Karn Liberated. I am going to burn your face. We're tied up. We're going to match number 7. After you guys were up 3-1 and a game.
I don't know if you're a basketball fan, Randy, but the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead before, and dang it, we can do it too.
I have heard 3-1 leads have been blown. It's a thing I've heard about before.
Yep. Hopefully we can redeem ourselves. I mean, if we're putting one person on the team we can trust, it's Brian Braun doing. So we'll see about this.
All right, don't go anywhere. We are going to be right back with the 7th and deciding match of tonight's battle.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hello and welcome back. I'm joined now by MTG Nerd Girl. Nice job in that last match.
Sometimes lucky.
That there wasn't anything particularly lucky. You just had a decent matchup and played it really well. That's all I saw.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really nervous. He's a much better player. I'm very new to Modern, so I kind of just needed to do the curve thing and get there. So
yeah, I thought that was a really key moment in the second match too, where he plays the Karn Liberated, and you're thinking about the fact, like, kill the Karn, get the prowess trigger. That had to be tempting. And
I almost pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah, Corey and I had the same first impression. We're like, oh, you killed the Karn, and then we just started working through it. It's like, no, actually, it's better to just send everything in his face. You should have, 10, 12, maybe more damage by the next turn. So I thought that was a really smart, that was a crucial moment. And if he has one more life point, he Mycosynth Lattices you on the next turn. You're never tapping lands for mana ever again. So I thought that was well solved.
Thank you. Yeah, I counted it out, but the problem is being so new to Modern, I didn't know what his deck could do.
Yeah.
Necessarily, like, I have a rough idea, but there's so many different versions of the list, and it was just a scary game.
And now things are all tied up. We are 3 matches apiece. I was saying to Corey, from 3-1, I may see a 3-1 lead blown here.
Yep. At the very least, I consider this a win. We gave you guys a good 7-round best of 7 against the top players in the world. And, we've got Jess, which is another MPL player, but April and I are a lot more on the casual side. April does a lot more legacy and more casual formats, whereas I'm pretty much strictly limited in general. So I consider this, win or lose, this is a win. I feel like Stream Team did very well.
It has been a great show, however this last match turns out. This last match, though, it is going to be a couple of MPLers, like you said. Brian Brown Dewin on the side of the Brothers Who Bash. Jess Estefan up for the Stream Team. And it's going to be Humans against Dredge, which I've heard people go back and forth on this matchup. I don't know if Jess has been saying anything about it. She seems confident in her side of things.
Yeah, she didn't. She did make a note that she would prefer not to go to Game 7 just because she's not in love with the matchup. But
Okay.
Not going to round 7 would just be ideal anyway. But that's a lot to ask when you're going against the Brothers Who Bash.
Sure. Yeah, she mentioned it earlier. Humans can come out overwhelmingly, but Blast Zone, I think, is the key new card that maybe gives Dredge a little more game, a little more tech here.
If there is anybody I want this last 7th round best of 7 riding on, it's Jess. Absolutely. And she knows the format, very, very well in comparison to me. But it's good. Hopefully it's going to be really good. I think Jess is going to get there.
I look forward to watching it one way or the other. Yeah, this should be fun. The whole show's been fun.
It has been.
No, I'm glad we got you guys involved in the show too. I know you say, you kind of wanted to try to dive into Modern. We have definitely thrown you in the deep end here a little bit. Well,
that's good though, because I'm going to Barcelona next month. So sink or swim. I actually, I owe you some thanks, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity, because this actually kind of lights a fire under my butt and gets me to test and practice sooner than I might have. So yeah, it's definitely a really good place to be.
I understand the lure of the 40 card decks though. The lure of the 40 card decks is strong.
They're so good.
All right. Our players are ready. Let's go see what's going to happen.
Go, Jess.
Jess Estefan, 3-3 is the team score. She's got Dredge in her hands. That draw does not look very exciting. No way to really get started. And shuffles it away. Is that one worse? That one doesn't look good. BBD's got pretty solid. He's got, High Rock for acceleration. He gets to go freebooter straight into Mantis Rider, however he wants to sequence it.
Humans doing human things.
Yeah, exactly. But with acceleration and all the colors he's going to need, so.
Yeah.
Humans doing good human things with a full 7 cards. All right, so she's going to keep those 5, even though I'm not convinced they're better than the 7, unfortunately. Yeah, that's unfortunately probably the worst of her draws, but so you have to stop at some point, I guess. Oh, yeah. Thalia.
This is pretty much exactly what Brian's hand looked like against me in round 1 as well.
How does he sequence this, I wonder? He's going to go Hierarch turn 1? Makes sense.
I would think Hierarch, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Champion's the only other option there. Turn 2 is where things start to get really interesting. Does he want a 2 and a 1? Probably the right answer, but then which 2? And which 1? Okay. Second land off the top for Jess does allow her to just hardcast Life from the Loam. No effect, except now it's in the graveyard where she can start dredging with it. So that's not unreasonable. Sure, she was glad to find the second land. I didn't see if she scried top or bottom, but
yeah, it is a little hard to tell sometimes on the scries and stuff.
Yeah. Now, does Brian want to get a Thalia onto the table, or does he want to take a look with Kitesail Freebooter? I don't think attack for 4 is the right answer. All right, he's going to go Champion of the Parish first. Doesn't really need the second Hierarch, and Thalia is his choice. Everything's a little more expensive and a little harder to pull off for Jess now.
I like the Thalia here, for sure. It makes... That card's just so good. It just gums up everything.
Yeah, it's funny. If he could freebooter her graveyard, maybe the freebooter would be the right play, but I think he knows her hand isn't great based on, turn 2 Life from the Loam for nothing except discarding it.
It's also, her hand's not very deep with how far she had to mull down.
Wow, she took a natural draw there. She declined to dredge Life from the Loam, instead opting to just draw off the top and summon a Narcomoeba. That's interesting. I mean, I guess she figures getting the Life from the Loam doesn't help her that much when she can't cast it, right? Thalia means it costs 3. She's got to come up with another land before she can cast that Life from the Loam, so she's kind of stuck drawing off the top.
She does have a very long way to go, unfortunately.
True story. Mantis Rider? BBD says Mantis Rider smash. Take 8. Jess would rather take 5.
Off to a really, really strong start. What do you think is Jess's out here, if any?
It had to be land off the top. I mean, that's the thing that she's been fishing for. Now she gets to summon either Stinkweed Imp or Prized Amalgam. Probably Stinkweed Imp, right? You want the pseudo Death Touch. So that was the start. I don't like her chances. I don't like her position. And I actually do like the way Brian has chosen to play this, right? He's just slow rolled those Kitesail Freebooters because all the evidence he's getting says that her hand is garbage. And so he's just applying pressure, right? Thalia gumming up the works, beat down creatures. She's like, okay, now fine. I ran out of more exciting things to do. Let's take a peek.
Humans doing human things.
Fair. Man, I think you just... God, does he take Stinkweed Imp because he doesn't want another death-touching blocker?
I would assume so. This is definitely a great matchup, though. I love that we're seeing BBD and Jess in the finals.
No, he can't take a creature. Sorry. Got myself confused there. Wow, so he attacks with only the first striker because Stinkweed can't block that effectively. He's going to set up for 1 long attack. 2 mana Aether Vial. Jess starts dredging, so she's able to get the Life from the Loam back. Spilled a Faithless Looting that she can't quite afford. So nothing exciting, but I mean, Stinkweed Imps are enough blockers. Kitesail Freebooter couldn't take it because it was a creature. Does she have enough to fend off this attack now? She does.
The first striker is still getting in there.
Right, Brian can attack with just the first striker. The question is, does he want to alpha strike? Does he want to send everybody and sort of let this Stinkweed Imps trade off against Mantis Rider and Champion? Actually, if just Thalia attacks, the double block will kill Thalia. You trade one Stinkweed Imp for the Thalia.
Not if he plays the
Does the second Hierarch beat that?
Yeah, because it's double exalted, right?
The second double exalted will actually get the job done.
It absolutely will. Make it so that way the first strike will kill both of them. Hopefully he'll forget. He'll just be like, I don't feel like being one of the best players ever today, and I'm just going to send. Just this one guy.
Just Thalia.
Yeah, are we taking it one more turn, or are we chumping? I feel like we're chumping.
Yeah, it's time. You can dredge it back too, right? And she does. Although, I feel like at some point soon, the Alpha Strike is just going to be lethal. Mana Confluence is whittling her down. Yeah, I guess the Alpha Strike only hits for 4. What a weird position we're in. It feels like Brian should just have it, and yet he doesn't.
The Stinkweed Imps are tricky.
Right, and she gets to dredge Stinkweed. Like, if she'd hit a Narcomoeba there, there'd be a prized Amalgam coming back.
And 2 of the creatures, they're not going to get the exalt. Like, they're usually only good if they're attacking by themselves. They don't get the exalted triggers. So also his board looks a lot clunkier than it is. 2 of the creatures are essentially non-existent as far as combat. So, yeah. I mean...
And the freebooters are only 1 power.
Yeah. So he's got 4 damage if he alphas here.
Yeah. I think it's just Thalia again.
Yeah. He has 100% knowledge as well.
Yeah, so, he knows it's a prized Amalgam. It's a good point. I mean, at some level, if he just Thalia's and she dredges Stinkweed again, she'll have to tap Mana Confluence, and Kitesail Freebooter from his hand could actually be the 5th point.
So,
all right.
If you alpha here and you get her down to 2, you lose your 2 best creatures, but then also there's nothing left on the board.
Right. She's only going to get to summon 1 Stinkweed Imp. And even that will cost her half her life via the Mana Confluence.
And she'll have to be chumping the Thalia forever from here on out.
All right, he's even got Draw Step Freebooter off the Ether Vial if he wants it. She goes for Stinkweed. Man, she could not hit a Narcomoeba. I think if she hits Narcomoebas to block with there, maybe we're still playing. But just that Stinkweed Imp is, not good enough. And game 1 goes to Brian Brown doing.
As I say, the bad guys, right?
Now, you established beyond a shadow of a doubt that your team is the home team.
Yeah.
I thought that logic was impenetrable. You're the stream team. We're on Twitch. This is your turf. Yep. So, yeah, they're the visitors. They're the away team. That makes them the bad guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've been this close before, right? They've been a game away from clinching things a couple of rounds ago.
Especially with Brad's cat petting awkwardly at the end. That was like your perfect bad guy scenario. That's how you like to finish up a round, with the bad guy.
Completely agree.
All right, what are we doing sideboarding wise here?
I like Brad in the chat. He's like, but we stream too. Not like they stream, Brad. I'm pretty sure you single-handedly outstream the 3 of them.
Probably. Yeah, I'm usually 250 hours a month or something.
That is a large number. I don't know that sideboarding changes a ton here. I mean,
well, they're definitely taking their time thinking about it, though.
The Auriok champions are relevant for sure. I guess Brian's brought a bunch of stuff in, and now he's trying to figure out what to take out. He's got Deputy of Detention in his deck right now. All right, he's going to take out the Phantasmal Images and the Freebooters. So he gets Deputies. He gets Auriok Champions. Gaddock Teague ×2 has come in. And he's still trimming. I don't know how much Jess gets to change.
That's always a good sign that you're watching two pros, is that the sideboard takes maximum time. You know, a lot of times people complain about like turns going too long or things like that. But one of the biggest mistakes I feel like you can make in competitive play is just thinking of your line of action and being too quick to make that line without, you know, second guessing yourself. I think that is what makes a good player.
I think there's one card off screen for Jess.
Yes.
Which presumably is a good one because she kept that hand. All right. Conflict Rage just to stick it in the graveyard. Still a missing card that we haven't seen. There we go. Well, Prized Amalgam. Okay. Brian gets to open with an Aether Vial. Not the most exciting keep for Jess. But, I don't know, last time she tried mulliganing and wound up with a mediocre 5, so it's tough.
Yeah, I feel
Blast
like
Zone is probably a lot of why she kept.
Probably. That's really good against humans.
And she's kind of slow rolling it here too, which is nice.
Get him to play into it a bit.
I think that's
his hand also doesn't seem as good as it was in the previous. Like, it's still pretty darn good. Spells and lands, but
yeah, it's fine, but it's not, you know, hierarch into 2 spells on 2 and 2 spells on 3.
Yeah, he's not dumping his entire hand, you know, by turn 2. Swinging for a lot with double Exalted. That was brutal.
All right, there is the Blast Zone. She's trying to line up. What does Conflagrate do for her here? Right, she gets to discard and kill Thalia, right? Yep. That nicely puts the Bloodghast into the graveyard, where Mana Confluence can bring it out next turn, which will trigger the Prized Amalgam. Yeah, I guess her hand's better than I gave it credit for. This actually worked out really nicely.
This is a tricky deck for sure. It always looks a little underwhelming, and you just have these like very slight interactions that absolutely just change the board state immediately. It's crazy.
I mean, it helps that Brian played nothing on 1 and then a 1 toughness creature on 2 to set this up, but yeah, I like her position. Nothing has changed from her opening hand, and suddenly I like her position a lot more. I think I just didn't quite appreciate how good Conflagrate was at turning this all on. No. Creeping Chill off the top, never the card you want to draw. Here's Bloodghast. That triggers the Prized Amalgam. She's got 3 mana to charge up Blast Zone if that's what she wants to do.
There's like a lot of like silence, but also I'm like on the edge of my seat, like really interested here, trying to send Jess all my good vibes. Do it.
I like the way she managed to get off the Creeping Chill before Gaddock Teague come down and mess things up. A Deputy of Detention is a real spell. But Brian's got that Blast Zone over there is kind of scary, right?
Yeah, it would take out the Mana Strider and the Deputy, which would be kind of nice.
Right, which I think means Brian is going for the Bugler instead.
To try to bait it out sooner she's going to still get that 2-for-1.
But it's not as good of a 2-for-1.
Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting to see if she can get around casting it. If her draws can be good enough to save it up.
I was like, would you like to add a 2 or a 3 to the board, Brian? Well, Ariok Champion is here. That one Blast Zone is being asked to do an awful lot.
It is.
But, I mean, look, there's Life from the Loam in the deck. All right, he puts out the Ariok Champion, so 2 2s and 2 3s. Stinkweed's a solid draw here. Stinkweed can block and then start dredging. That is an excellent draw. Yeah, better than charging up Blast Zone. I'll buy that.
Yeah, that's really, really good for the Mantis Rider for sure. That was one thing. And this also makes it so that way she's a little less incentivized to crack that Blast Zone. And maybe we can get it, in a little bit more of a dire situation. Crack it, get out. It's like saving your get out of jail free card is basically how I see it.
Well, I think she plans to dredge into a Life from the Loam. That's her plan. Stinkweed may slow the beats down so that she has time for that. All right, Vial for the second Militia Bugler. Okay, still slow rolling the Deputy of Detention. Gets a Meddling Mage off the Bugler.
Double Meddling Mage. All 2s and 3s.
The Deputy is going to come down. Yeah, I think Brian needs to try to apply pressure so that she can't find time for Blast Zone shenanigans.
Yeah, do we know how many counters are on Blast Zone?
I think it's still only the one. She hasn't had a turn to charge it yet, so it's only got the one it started with. I like this line from Brian. Deputy gets the Stinkweed Imp out of the way of the Mantis Rider and out of the potential of blocking and getting into the graveyard where we can start dredging. So Jess is empty-handed, down to 9, has to draw off the top, and an ugly-looking Narcomoeba.
I would like to just say I don't like this line from Brian.
Really?
Because
just because you're confident things have to work out for the stream team?
Yeah.
Something must be wrong with it? I'll allow it.
I don't like it in that it's too good. Too many things. He was supposed to just accidentally skip through his combat step.
Yeah, this is a rough spot. I don't think Jess is going to die next turn, but she's going to take a bunch of damage.
Yes, it's going to be. She can't even put 2 counters on the.
Right.
She can only put the 1, so we're not cracking for 3, which means we're not getting the Stinkweed Imp back anytime soon. Yeah, this is just really awkward. BBD did draw some gas, and oh boy, yeah, it worked out really well.
Deputy of Detention was the MVP here in my mind. If Stinkweed Imp gets to block and she gets to start dredging, I think she just, probably gets to put a bunch of creatures into play. She gets the blocks she needs to buy the time to just get way ahead. But yeah, on one blocker here, I think Brian's Alpha Strike looks. I guess you don't attack with Deputy, but I think you can attack with everything else. Fine, Gaddock gets killed.
Ifra saying she's dead on board. I'm trying to find it.
She might be
missing. I might be missing an ability.
I mean, he's only got Bloodghast can't block, so it's only Prized Amalgam that can block.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that is 9. Yeah, if Brian just risks the deputy detention, I think the Alpha Strike is lethal.
And what could she really have in her deck to stop it? Like for that one card? Because he doesn't have the knowledge for the one card, but
does not know what she drew. Gonna go for it anyway. Yeah, looks like Brian Brown Doohan is single-handedly carrying the Brothers Who Bash. The special guest star, always the key to everything those guys do, right? It's all about the special guest. He is putting up not 1, not 2, but 3 wins tonight of the 4 that they're going to need. But I think he's got this one. Bloodgas can't block. Prized Amalgam can only block a 2. That leaves 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And Jess does the same math, hits the right-click concede button, and wow, that was a close match tonight. Great show.
Well, but that match wasn't close, but
that match was almost close. Like, both games, it felt like things just couldn't quite almost get. Brian piloted his deck well, and yes. the Bash Brothers are 1-0. You guys do.
Deck. It's tough.
Yeah, you guys do take the L here, but you will be back. The way the format works, it's 2 rounds of Swiss. Anybody who goes 2-0 gets a bye straight into the top 4. The 1-1 teams play for the other 2 spots in the top 4. So still very live to win the whole thing. And we want to look at it this way. You guys got 3 wins more than the play design team did last week. So
yeah.
So you got that going for you.
Like I said, with 2 people being so casual, I feel like going to round 7 was just an absolute win. I'm pretty excited, and gives me a lot of hope for the next rounds.
There you go. Next week, it will be Channel Fireball taking on Mage Market. Now, this matchup is going to be exciting for a couple of different reasons. First of all, those 2 teams have some history. Mage Market used to be called Snap Cardster. They changed the name of the app that sponsors them, so Mage is now the name. But they went back and forth a couple of times, and in the end, it was Channel Fireball that beat Snap Cardster in the finals of the last one of these. So the Snap Cardster guys remember that. They definitely want to get one up. And, oh, by the way, Modern Horizons will be legal. We are getting it into the accounts we use ASAP. As soon as the code hits Magic Online, you guys will have access to it in your TMSL accounts. And Modern Horizons will be legal next Tuesday night, one of the first times anybody will be playing with those cards in Modern. So who knows what people are going to come up with Modern Horizons. I mean, I'm curious to see what the Mage Market guys come up with, but can we talk about Matt Nass for a minute? Matt Nass carries around a notebook with him at all times where he scribbles crazy ideas. Sometimes the crazy ideas are really good and they, turn into Pro Tour winning decks, Mythic Championships winning decks. Sometimes they're just crazy ideas, and he's like, we'll save that one for Super League. So I think having those guys, with Matt in particular, brewing up the decks is going to be perfect for the debut of Modern Horizons next Tuesday night.
I can't believe it's going live. I thought it was the week after. That's so awesome.
Yeah, no, next Tuesday. It's the earliest date we could get. Yeah, I had to talk with Wizards about getting us a little bit special early access, but the code will be live, the cards will be live. We get to play with the new toys starting next Tuesday.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I hope everybody enjoyed tonight's show. I think it was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys will come back next week. See what happens with some new toys to play with. All right, Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. See you next time.